In the village of Umuna, there lived a kind but wary woman named Akamma. She shared a small hut with her son, Chimdi, who was her only source of joy. Life had not been too kind to Akamma. Her husband was taken from her during a violent storm, leaving her to shoulder the burden of raising Chimdi alone. Every day, Akamma toiled tirelessly, but no matter how hard she worked, it was never enough. Her son grew thinner with each passing day, and her heart shattered every time she saw the hunger and sadness in his eyes. Akamma's days were grueling. Before the sun rose, she was already hauling heavy firewood, fetching water from the stream, and working the dry, cracked soil of her farm. Yet her effort yielded little, and the market's high prices made it impossible for her to buy enough food to sustain them. Chimdi, once a cheerful boy, grew quiet and weak. His playful laughter faded, replaced by exhaustion and silence. Akamma would stroke his hair and whisper, "Mama is trying, my son. We will be fine." But deep down, she doubted if things would ever improve. One night, after an especially difficult day, Akamma sat outside her hut under the full moon. Tears streamed down her face as she whispered a desperate plea to the stars. Just one day without pain, hunger, or sorrow. I need rest. To her surprise, the night grew eerie still, and a shadow emerged from the forest edge. It grew larger until it took the shape of a tall figure cloaked in black. "You called for me," the figure said, his voice as soft as the wind. Akamma trembled but did not run. "Who are you?" she asked. "I am Death." "I am Death," the figure replied. Though fear gripped her, Akamma found herself asking, "Why are you here?" "You whispered for rest," Death said. "I have come to grant it. You may borrow me for one day of peace, free from pain and sorrow. But know this, borrowing me too often comes at a price. One day, I may not give you your life back." Desperate for relief, Akamma agreed. Death reached out and touched her forehead, and the world around her faded into darkness. The next morning, Chimdi found his mother lying lifeless on the floor. "Mama," he cried, shaking her unresponsive body. Villagers rushed to her hut, and seeing her stillness, began mourning her death. The village's native doctor, a wise and respected elder, arrived and declared, "Her spirit has not traveled far. Do not bury her yet. Wait until tomorrow." The villagers heeded his advice, and at sunrise, Akamma gasped for air and awakened. Her return was hailed as a miracle, but only Akamma knew the true story. She had borrowed death and returned. At first, she felt renewed. The peace she experienced during her brief rest was unlike anything she had ever known. But as the struggles of life resumed, Akamma found herself yearning for that peace again. One night, unable to bear the weight of her burdens, she called on Death once more. This time, she borrowed Death for 3 days, leaving Chimdi in the care of neighbors. She told them she was traveling a distant farm, but in truth, she lay down in the forest and let her soul drift away. When she returned, she felt lighter, as though the weight of the world has been lifted. Akama continued this pattern, borrowing death wherever life became too overwhelming. At first, it was for a day or two, but soon she stayed away for weeks at a time. Each time she ventured deeper into the forest to ensure no one would disturb her resting body. Chimdi grew increasingly worried about his mother's absences. "Mama, why do you always leave?" he asked. "I go to find food for us, my son." Akama lied. "Don't worry, Mama always comes back." But one day, Akama borrowed death for 2 weeks, unable to endure her struggles any longer. The villagers noticed her absence and formed a search party. They eventually found her lifeless body under a tree in the forest. The native doctor examined her and shook his head gravely. "Her spirit is gone," he said. "Death has taken her for good." The villagers were heartbroken as they learned of Akama's secret, her desperate escapes through death. Chimdi blamed himself, believing his mother's sacrifices were his fault. "Mama left because of me," he sobbed. A kind villager, Mama Inki, comforted him. "No, child," she said gently. "Your mother loved you so much that she bore more than anyone should. But her choices were her own. You were her reason for fighting as long as she did." Akama was buried beneath a tall tree near the village, and her story became a lesson for all. The native doctor reminded the villagers, life is full of struggles, but there is always hope in living. In death, there are no second chances. The villagers vowed to support one another, ensuring no one else would feel so hopeless. Chimdi was taken in by Mamanki, who raised him with love and care. Though he missed his mother deeply, he grew into a kind and strong young man, determined to honor her memory by helping others. Years later, Chimdi built a shrine near his mother's grave. It became a place where people came to reflect on the value of life and the strength found in unity. Akama's story spread far and wide, teaching generations that even in the hardest times, life is worth fighting for. Her legacy lived on, reminding all who heard her tale that while pain is part of life, so too is hope, and the gift of life is far too precious to surrender. Alright guys, this is the end of the story, and I hope you enjoyed the story. If you did, please do well to subscribe. Turn your post notification button so that you'll be notified every time I post interesting videos like this. Click on the like button to give this video a thumbs up. Please share this video with your friends and your family. Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section. What do you think about this story? Bye for now, and I'll see you in my next video.